Hello everyone, I'm just tuning into Facebook and Instagram tonight to talk about management of emotions and moods with the help of essential oils. So I'm looking at two screens here, on the computer on Facebook and on the phone on Instagram, so do please excuse if I move my eyes back and forth in between the two screens, but I will try to make things visible for both Facebook and Instagram. So what I love about the emotional range and the mood management kit that doTERRA offer is that it's really a no-brainer to understand when you first start using essential oils. I loved using these blends when I first started because they're so self-explanatory. And I felt really empowered to be able to have those tools to work with my children, for myself, and also in a yoga studio. In our yoga practices, we often work with awareness in feeling into what emotions are present for us and really allowing the emotions to flow and to be able to sit with them and recognize them and work through them with different tools. So the oils can just be one tool to either support yourself with other things like journaling, a yoga practice, meditation, whatever resonates with you, EFT perhaps, or other practices that you might gel with. So the essential oils can just be another tool. So let's start with the emotions, emotional aromatherapy kit, it's called. And I do really love the roller bottles. So with the emotional aromatherapy kit, we have got 6 blends. I'll just give you a little few of them. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So they're here, 6 little roller balls, and they have all different names. I'm going to talk you through them. The very same oils also come in roller bottles, so you can use these ones in the diffuser and make your own cleanser. So when I first started, I just used the neat oils and made up my own rollers, but the rollers are a really great option to just have something in your handbag or on your kitchen counter or in your living room to use. So let's start with uplifting blends. So the Motivate, there we have Motivate. Motivate is a really lovely citrus blend. So again, it's self-explanatory. Then if you're unmotivated, tired, then you need to pick me up in the morning, it's really lovely to pop that on. And all citrus blends are uplifting, all citrus oils are uplifting for the mood. I've just printed out these beautiful sheets that doTERRA have. So if you're unsure about an oil or what's in it, on our doTERRA New Zealand website, these are available for all countries. It tells you a little bit about the oil and which oils are in it and what price they are. So it's really good to make an informed decision about which oils are great for you. So the Motivate Touch, and with these roller bottles, if it says touch, I don't know whether you can see that on the camera. Can you see how it says touch there? Touch there. So that means it's ready for skin application for adults. So it's an adult dilution. If you want to be more precise with your dilution, it's better to work with the neat oil. And then you can make up the dilutions for your children, for their ages, for yourself. With these roller bottles, it's a general dilution for adults, so we don't even know how many drops are in there. It works for me, and sometimes I even use them for my children, but if you want to be precise with dilution, it's best to go for the neat oil and make up your own rollers. So in Motivate, you have peppermint, you have got clementine, coriander seed, basil, yuzu, melissa, rosemary, and vanilla bean. So the rosemary is in general a really great oil when you need focus. I often diffuse lemon and rosemary together in my diffuser when I lack focus in my office. Melissa is the oil of light, so that really brings in lightness and takes away heaviness, so it helps with that uplifting again. Yuzu and clementine are both citrus fruits, so they are uplifting and beautiful citrusy. Basil is a great oil for adrenal fatigue, so it really helps to get rid of tiredness and that fatigue feeling. And coriander helps with detoxification. Peppermint is uplifting. It's the oil of the buoyant heart. So it really gives you that lift and freshness. And with all the doTERRA blends, with all the touch bottles, you have got fractionated coconut oil is the carrier oil, which the essential oils are diluted with. And they use fractionated coconut oil because with the carrier oils, it's the one that gets rancid the least quickly. And also it's the most smell nutrient. If you make your own blends with the undiluted oil, you could use any carrier oils. You can use almond oil, jojoba oil, macadamia oil, whatever you fancy really. So that's the motivate. So it promotes feelings of confidence, courage, and belief. It's uplifting and a positive aroma to use in times when negative emotions are present. So motivate I really use in mornings mainly, or when I have that afternoon slump. And where I apply them usually is behind the ears, around the neck area, on the inside of the wrists or over my heart. You can also, I always do both applications. So when you apply to the skin, it goes into your bloodstream and will do its work in your body. And I also always have a deep sniff, so you have got the aromatic response of the essential oil. So just have 3 deep inhalations. And maybe if it resonates, you could even do your affirmations. I'm going to be productive now. I'm going to do my task, or whatever you want. So that's the Motivate roller bottle or neat oil. Next up, Chia Touch and the chia oil. So Chia Touch, here we go. It's a really lovely, popular citrus blend. When I offer oils in a studio, people often really love this. So Chia is the uplifting blend. Motivate is called the encouraging blend. Chia uplifting blend, again, that's got citrus notes in it. So it's got wild orange in it and lemon myrtle leaf, so they are the citrus notes. It's also got a clove bud, star anise, nutmeg, and vanilla, and cinnamon bark. So lots of spicy notes, and they give it an almost Christmassy smell. So it's really lovely and refreshing and uplifting. So when I smell this, I feel, yeah, straight away like summer, uplifted and fresh. So it's really fresh notes and a bit of Christmassy spice in there. So it promotes feeling of optimism, cheerfulness, and emotional well-being. It has a pleasing and uplifting effect. And it's a very popular oil, as I said, in my yoga studio when I offer the rollers. Again, this also comes in a neat oil, so you can drop this into your diffuser. With the roller bottles, so they're really only for skin application. If you want to use them in your diffuser, you need a neat oil. So you can just, then neat oils have the dropper top. And you can just pop, in my studio, in my yoga studio, in my lounge, I usually use 4 to 6 drops. And if I have blends, I always try to just use the blend. So these blends already have been formulated for a certain purpose. So I often see people mixing and mucking around with blends. I mean, it's fair enough, but I always think when you mix too many oils, like often these blends already have around 5 to 10 different oils in them, I always like to compare it with painting with too many colors. If you mix too many colors in painting, it just becomes a brown and muddy mess. And I find it's very similar with essential oils. So try to keep it simple. You don't want to overwhelm your olfactory glands. And if you already have an essential oil blend, just keep in mind it's been blended for a certain purpose. You don't need to mix like 3 or 4 different blends in your diffuser or in your roller bottle. Keep the blends by themselves is my recommendation. As you get more experienced, you might want to play around a bit more, but I really personally try to keep it simple. So if there's a blend, just use a blend is my recommendation, especially as you start. So let's move on to the next oil, the Passion blend. So that's a neat oil, and we also have the touch bottle, neat oil and the touch bottle. The Passion blend is really sweet, a little bit more of a heavy scent than the Chia and Motivate, so it's sweet. I didn't really like it much in the beginning. I've warmed up to it. So you can use this, obviously. As I said, I love these because they are so self-explanatory. So Passion, obviously you use when you lack passion for what you do in your work, in your parenting, in your relationship. So you can use them for all these purposes. Makes a really beautiful massage oil with your partner if you have a bit of 2-on-2 time in the bedroom. It's really lovely. Or using the roller as a perfume if you're lacking passion for your job or in your parenting, to just connect back in with your purpose. So the Passion has got cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, clove, and vanilla. So these are all the spices in it, which brings, I find always when there are lots of spices in it, it brings in a bit of heaviness. If the spices are combined with citrus, it gives it a certain lift. Here we have also sandalwood and jasmine, which brings in the heaviness I find in the Passion. So sandalwood is a grounding, beautiful oil. It's great for the lymphatic system too. Jasmine flower, so jasmine has been used for centuries as an aphrodisiac and to balance hormones as well. So it actually makes a lovely perfume for women if you feel drawn to the scent. So that's the Passion. So again, you can diffuse the neat oil. You can use the roller as a perfume on your skin or inhale from it. So next up, let's do the Peace. Peace again is a great favorite in my yoga studio. And that is actually one I personally feel really drawn to. Not only in the scent, but also to the word. I like peacefulness. I always strive for peacefulness, not only for myself, but also for my family and my work, etc. And I really love this scent. It's kind of a mix in between sweetness, heaviness, and freshness. It's kind of in between, so it's not a very committed, citrusy or heavy scent. It's got vetiver in it, so vetiver is a very efficient knockout oil. We use this for sleep problems, for insomnia. People find it helpful when they have got children with attention deficit things happening. It really brings that calming, grounding feeling, and it comes from a grass root. So it's really got that root profile that lots of tree oils have. So it's very calming and grounding, the vetiver root. It's also got lavender in it. Everybody knows lavender calms and soothes. Ylang Ylang is a really lovely flower scent. I really love the Ylang Ylang oil by itself as well. Again, that's a lovely one for hormonal balancing as well. Frankincense, you can't go wrong with frankincense. I love frankincense. Again, it's a resin from a tree. I love all the tree oils, so they all support grounding, calming, root chakra, very much like the vetiver in the same profile. Clary sage really supports getting rid of any energetics that we don't like around. So clary sage I often diffuse when I feel like there are yucky energies around in the house, or when I feel hormonal in that PMS stage. So clary sage is a good one for clearing. So it really helps in that peace plan to let go of anything that doesn't support a peaceful state. Marjoram, again, it helps to let go of anything that doesn't support And we have also labdanum and spearmint in there to lift it a little bit. So peace is a favorite. It's lovely. Again, you can use it as a perfume and in a diffuser. So that's a really lovely one for families. Then there's the up and down. In the mornings you could do the chi and motivate. In the evening you can use the peace. So that's the peace. And then we have console. And funnily enough, I've been using console a lot. In the last month I actually have to reorder a new bottle because I'm almost out. So console is a really lovely blend for when you're grieving, when there's sadness, when there's emotional upset. And I have had so much feedback from people who have gone through grief and loss of any kind, if it's heartbreak or actually dealing with death in a family, with friends, etc. So console is a really great blend for that. It's like a warm hug, really. And it has got frankincense again. Frankincense is really lovely emotionally. It's the oil of truth, but it's also got that grounding, beautiful, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just the most beautiful grounding oil and really supports physically the body very well too. It's got patchouli, ylang ylang, labdanum, amira bark, so again a wood, sandalwood, again a wood. Rose is the most beautiful emotional healer, so really precious oil. This one is slightly more pricey, the console, but rose oil is lovely to just apply over your heart if you're lucky enough to have a bottle, or use it as a perfume. So it's one of the highest vibrancy oils, rose oil. So console, you can apply over your head. I know one lady, she said she sometimes even just holds it when grief is overcoming her, and she finds even that already helps. So you can use it in a diffuser or as a perfume, as a scent, inhale, if you're going through stages of grief, loss, or sadness. Also my daughter quite enjoys this sometimes when there's emotional upset, so it can really support children to this whole range in a diffuser or topically. But as I said, with the touch bottles, just be mindful they are not children's dilutions. My children are older, so I sometimes use them directly from the bottle, but if you want to be really accurate with children's dilutions, I do recommend to go for these bottles and make up your own plans. Next up is Forgive. And Forgive I have not used for a long time. And then all of a sudden I warmed up to this oil. It's really lovely and it's very reasonably priced as well. And yeah, I really like it just as a scent. It's very much a male scent. It's not sweet, it's not flowery. It's very woody and heavy. And I love woods. I just love woods. I'm not a sweet scent person, so it would make a great perfume for men as well, or women who don't like those sweet smells. It's almost herbaceous, woody. So that one has got spruce leaf, bergamot. Bergamot is great. Bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. It's a citrus oil. Just a note on citrus oils: if you apply citrus onto your skin, especially in the New Zealand sun, you have to be mindful that for 12 to 24 hours you're more sun sensitive on the area where you applied it. So most of the citrus oils are sun or photosensitive. Green mandarin, not so much, but it's very much the only exception. So just be mindful that you pop them on your skin, especially during summer. So Forgive has got spruce, bergamot, juniper berry. Juniper berry, again, helps us to get rid of things we don't want. So it very much helps with that forgiveness process. It's also a great oil for nightmares, juniper berry, to let go of that energy. Myrrh, beautiful wood. Arborvitae, beautiful wood. Nootka tree. So it's got lots of those woods in it. thyme leaf and citronella. Citronella again supports letting go of things that don't serve us. So that's the emotional range. So there are 6 plants and they are all pretty self-explanatory, and that's what I love about them. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand them, and it's a very accessible and easy way to use them for emotional management, especially in our times these days. I just need to plug my phone in. We are running out of steam here in the phone. Sorry about that. And I've lost you now, I think. There we go. Yeah, so especially with all the mental illness in New Zealand that we are facing, I mean, an essential oil won't solve that problem, obviously, but it can be really supportive to just have another tool on hand to pick yourself up, or just keep the emotions more balanced, using those preventatively as well, and really learning through using the oils also to identify emotional fluctuations and which emotions you deal with mostly. And it's a beautiful tool for children to learn which emotions are they actually when they come up. Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I, what am I, and how can I deal with this? So it's a really beautiful tool for them to work with as well. Then doTERRA have another little kit. That was the second kit I actually purchased when I first signed up. It's called the Mood Management Kit. So the first one we talked about is called the Emotional Aromatherapy Kit. And this one is the Mood Management Kit. Often kindergarten, schools, in the mental health hospital, we have worked with these plants, and also in the yoga studio I use them lots. Because again, they're really easy, they're very pleasant scents, easy to use, self-explanatory. And most of them are crowd pleasers. So you can't really go wrong with it. My phone is running away from me. I have to readjust it here. Golly. Right, here we go. So, balance. Balance is a really great blend. Crowd pleaser. Everybody loves balance. I haven't met a single person who doesn't like balance. Balance is a grounding blend. Lots of parents use these for children with a couple of drops underneath the soles of the feet in the morning. So when children are ungrounded, sometimes the children, they're still very much up in fairyland slightly, so they're finding it hard to really arrive in the present moment. So that just can help in the morning to give them a little foot massage under the soles of the feet with balance. It's got lots of grounding and calming oils in it. It's got spruce, Worwood, frankincense, there we go again, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus. Blue tansy is also a great one for anger management, and they are all really gentle oils for the skin as well. So they all support grounding, calming, they're just steadiness. I love working with balance when I work on the root chakra in the yoga practice. So it really supports grounding, calming, and supporting that arriving in the body after sleep is finished in the morning or during the day, when you feel ungrounded, and perhaps almost when you're a person who is very much up in the higher chakras, in the intellectual realms. It's often in our society everything is intellectualized, and lots of people in our society lose that groundedness, and yeah, just being really connected to the earth, to that sense of security. There's so much insecurity at the moment with all the things that we are facing, climate change, etc. So we can really lack that grounding, feeling of security, safety. So this is a nice oil to support yourself with. I know many, many people who use this every day to support themselves. So it's a very gentle one, and also there's a little exception here because it has got so many precious oils in it. It's already diluted with fractionated coconut oil, so it's ready for skin application. Again, that's an adult dilution, so for children you might dilute it a bit further. Next, lavender peace. Lavender peace is a beautiful sleep plant. Sleeping, grounding, calming. So it's called the restful plant. I personally can't use this because it's got lavender in it, and lavender is only calming to I think 70%, 60 or 70% of the population. Yeah, I think it's 70, 30% of the population can't use. It's just a general average lavender. So I don't use this topically or in a diffuser at sleep time, but for most people it works really well. It's again got lots of grounding, calming oils in it. It's got cedarwood, Worwood, ylang ylang, marjoram, Roman chamomile, vetiver. So that's our sleep oil. Vanilla, absolute, and Hawaiian sandalwood. So lots of wood oils plus the lavender and the ylang ylang. So really lovely blend. Lots of people just use it in a diffuser, and topically it's a great oil to support sleep problems, anxiety, insomnia, and calming down the kids at LEM hour. So it's a lovely one for that grounding, calming at night time. And then we have got two uplifting ones in that range. One is Citrus Bliss. That's one of my favorites. So woods and citrus would have to be my favorite oil ranges, Citrus Bliss. And the great thing about citrus oils is that they are expressed from the peel of the citrus fruits, and the yield is very high, meaning you get lots of oil out of very little plant material, which is the opposite for rose, for example, or melissa. You need kilograms and kilograms of plant material and only get very little oil out of it, which is why rose oils are very expensive, and citrus is usually really reasonable. So if you see oils that are all the same price, you can almost be sure that they're synthetic oils. Always be sure about the quality of the oils you buy too. So Citrus Bliss is, again, a reasonable blend if you buy it separately. It's got wild orange, lemon peel, grapefruit, mandarin peel, bergamot peel, tangerine peel, clementine peel, and a bit of vanilla. And it just smells like you're standing in a citrus orchard. For me, that's just summer smell. I just love it. It immediately makes me happy when I smell that. It's really beautiful. If you have got your own account, that's $24, so it's really not a big investment. And a crowd pleaser. Again, I've never heard a person who don't like Citrus Bliss. So it's uplifting to the mood. It just makes you happy. A great morning oil, a great oil for winter when it's all a bit gloomy and dark and heavy. So it's a real pick-me-up oil, happy blend for me. Again, if you use this topically, which you can make up your own blends. Just be mindful with the sun sensitivity. But as I said, you can check. There's a sheet like this for each oil on the doTERRA New Zealand website, and you can print them out and check on what's in the actual oils. So the last blend I want to talk about today is Elevation. Elevation is one I've never liked and I still don't like. It's really sweet. Oh, it's like candy. I don't like it at all. So I naturally don't use this much. I know people who absolutely love it. They could sit in it. I don't like it. So that's one of the few oils that I don't resonate with Elevation. It's called the Joyful Plant. So for some people, it really resonates. It's got lavender in it, tangerine, lavender, amyris, clary sage, Hawaiian sandalwood, ylang ylang, Worwood, osmanthus, lemon myrtle, and melissa. So it's actually really lovely oils. I don't know why I don't like it. Maybe I have to use it for a little while and see what comes up. So it's joyful plant. It's uplifting aroma to enliven the senses, energizing and refreshing, promotes a revitalizing environment. So very similar in the actions to Citrus Bliss. It's not plain citrus, it's obviously got a few woody notes, and then again Melissa has a woody, super precious, oil, myrtle leaf, super precious, sandalwood. So it's got grounding and uplifting at the same time, so it works on the root chakra and on the higher chakras at the same time. So elevation, joyful plant. So that's the last one, and this little kit is a really cool kit. It comes with 15 ml bottles, so they're all 15 mils, and it's those 4 plants. It's balance, citrus bliss, lavender peace, and elevation, and that's $150 wholesale. So it's really good value, and yeah, pretty much covered in your range: uplifting, grounding, calming, joy. So that's all the plants I wanted to talk about, and I really think these plants are great for beginners. I have been using the oils for almost 3 years, and I play around often with single oils or make my own customized plants. But when you first start, you don't know usually a whole lot about the oils, so it's really great to have those pre-made plants, and the names are usually self-explanatory. If you want to really delve into it a bit deeper, this is one of my main resources when I want to address emotional states. There are other books, but this one is a really easy one because it's doTERRA specific. So it's got pages for all the doTERRA oils, for example, just to show you. This one is peace, and again it lists the oils and the emotional properties, and then it's got pages for all the single oils as well. So it's one of my main resources, especially if I plan yoga sessions or day retreats, things like that. I really try to work with that, and also if I do one-on-ones and I know a client is struggling with certain emotional issues, I really like to address physical as well as emotional things. So this is a great resource, Emotions and Essential Oils. It's available from an Australian website called Aroma Tools Australia, and I think it's around $30. So it's a great investment if you are interested in that work. I see there are a few people on here. I don't know, have you got any questions? Has anybody got questions? You can just type in whatever. There's anything you want to know or anything I didn't address. Just a note on quality. I've just come across an independent consumer study a couple of days ago where 11 essential oil brands have been tested for quality. And if you haven't really researched this properly, essential oil brands, etc., and what quality they have, it's unfortunately not a very clean business. Essential oils or fragrance industry in general. So there's lots of synthetic fragrance around, and it's mostly unregulated, the industry as well. So lots of essential oils unfortunately have synthetic replacements in them, toxic fillers. And it's really unfortunate because people think they do themselves something good and then just smear another synthetic thing on their skin. And everything you put on your skin is being absorbed into your bloodstream. So it's really important to have good quality. And doTERRA comes out clean in so many independent studies. I've never seen one where it came back not clean. Research institutes choose to partner with them now because they constantly have same quality, same potency. And unfortunately, lots of the other main brands have adulteration happening in their oils. So just be mindful, especially if you're quite particular about what you use in your household. I know I am. So I really want to make sure I know what I put on my skin, and I trust doTERRA 100%. And the more I learn about the company and their ethics and practices and the testing methods, the more I'm reassured that I'm doing a good thing for my children and myself and my family by using a clean essential oil brand. So be reassured that they are clean. And you can actually view for each bottle. Each bottle has a number underneath. I don't know whether you can see that in this camera. It's got a number. You can't really see it. It's in the camera. But each batch of oil is tested over 50 times, and lots of people say, oh, it's just a marketing gig. They made up their own testing stuff. But they have made up their own testing regime because there's none. It's an unregulated industry, so they call it CPTG testing. But that involves in-house testing as well as third-party testing. So it's not like they just make up their own things. It's both in-house and third-party. And the tests that you can view on Source2You, source2you.com is actually a website they have, especially just for sourcing their ethics and to view the third-party test results for each batch of essential oil. So you can look underneath your bottle, put in your batch number, and it will bring up the independent third-party test. So it's not something that they just print out in their own laboratory, as some people assume. It's all quite legitimate. Yeah, and I think that's all I wanted to talk about. So you can really use these emotional plans quite intuitively. And I find especially children are often amazingly intuitive by choosing what they need for themselves through either smells or through what they need. Adults, I find we often lost connection with how we feel our emotions because we have been taught to suppress what we feel and how to really express the whole rainbow of emotions. So I find that really important, like things like anger or sadness. I have experienced it so many times in my life where people said, oh, excuse my tears, I'm quite an emotional person. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. It's great. Of course, it's one emotion of human experience. We really need to experience sadness and be able to show sadness. And we need to be able to experience anger. I've experienced lots of anger lately with all that climate stuff going on and the greediness of those big, massive companies and the future, our children gonna change. Sometimes I feel this is all too big for me to digest, and I feel a lot of anger and rage almost sometimes with that, another oil rig swimming in on our shores, etc. So I really do have to work with my own rainbow of emotion. And I do use the oils quite a bit for that, my diffuser. And other things, of course, journaling, meditation, and it's a constant work in progress. Teaching. I sometimes laugh when I teach something to my students in my yoga sessions, and it's exactly what I need to learn myself. So we are all learning all the time. And it's really important that, especially if you have children, that they see you experience that whole rainbow of emotion, and they see you, how you deal with that. How do you deal with anger? Not just saying, oh, shut up or go to your room and let's just forget about it. We need to work through those things. We need to teach them how to deal with it whole range of emotion in a healthy way. And especially in New Zealand and especially in Australia with our highest suicide rates, especially with teenagers. So as I said, the oils are not going to be a magic bullet. It's just one tool in a big tool basket, and we all have to develop our own tool basket that works for us. So I think that's me for tonight. I don't want to chew your ear off. If you have questions, you can always feel free to message me. I am happy to give one-on-one consultations. They're really reasonable. I charge $40, and that includes an iToby scan if you can be present personally. I'm also happy to do consultations on the phone or online or just answer email queries. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And that's me. If you want to learn more about the oils, I have got a website called essential-oils.nz, so you can tune in to that if you like. And otherwise, I wish you a good night and a good weekend ahead. Keep warm out there. I've got our fire blasting away. So take care and see you soon again. Thank you for being here.